Carolina. But it's wonderful to see so much enthusiasm and what's going on, and I guess there'll be a pretty good test of a new system of voting come Saturday. And, that's pretty interesting, but it's good to see so many people interested. We do have a challenge in the Republican Party to make sure our party doesn't shrink, and there have been some indication that it has. And I have to tell you, though, that you know, for us belonging to a strict constitutional libertarian wing of the party, we have been well received here. The Republicans, where we meet, they're very gracious and very open. I met with the state chairman today. She's very nice, and wanted to make sure that everybody's included. There are some places in the country where they're not as open as that, so I appreciate that very much. But we do have a job to you know, do a good job next year and build our party. And I'd like to see the day when we are truly a very conservative constitutional party. And this is what I've campaigned on for 30 years. And we've stood for this, but we have drifted and we've been punished for it. You know, in the last election we didn't do as well. I think we have to stick to our principles. I think we have to believe that we are conservatives, that we believe in balanced budget. There's nothing wrong with that. Personal liberty, there's nothing wrong with that. And taking our oath of office very seriously, I think that's very, very important. But these issues are key. But, you know, the philosophy is something that we have talked about and promoted. And I remember it as early as Barry Goldwater years talking about, you know, limited government. But, you know, you can have strong beliefs and convictions, but you also have to have organization. And you have to know what to do. I guess this is a real test this time to know exactly where to go and what to do and get in the caucus and vote for the straw vote. And it's very important, and that's why the organization is so key. And all I want to do is stop by and say hello. We feel good about what we're doing in Nevada. And, you know, there is a spirit of independence here, let me tell you. And personal liberty, and this is what freedom is all about. You know, they get the event about some of our rallies. We just came from a rather large group of supporters and all, and they said, well, you have a pretty diverse group. And they said, is that unusual? I said, no, it's pretty common, because freedom does bring people together, because we don't want to tell people what to do in a free country. It's your life to lead, you know. And the neat thing about it, too, in a truly free country, you're supposed to be able to be allowed to spend your money the way you want to, too. It's supposed to be your money, and you get to keep it, and not have to be so overburdened by sending so much to the government and fighting tooth and nail to get some of our money back. But our country faces serious times. I think we're in some serious financial problems because we're overspending. We're spending over $800 billion a year above what we produce in this country, and that's called a current account deficit. So we have to borrow from foreigners that much. So technically, whether you endorse some domestic program or some international program or support our troops in different places, we have to borrow money. And there's a limit to that. You can get away with it for a period of time, but then eventually it hurts the currency, and that's what we're facing today. We're right now doing what we did in the 1970s when I got interested in politics, because I got interested through economics. And the 60s were a tough decade because we were told by the Johnson administration you could have guns and butter, it didn't matter, you wouldn't have to worry about it. But the 70s you had to pay for it. We're starting to pay for a bunch of deficits run up by both parties over these many years, and you pay for this by the fact that the value of the dollar goes down. So this can be fun and games. It's very important. We argue the case for limited government, but ultimately what we have to do is fight and argue the case for limited government, our Constitution, make sure that our goal is to have personal freedom. But I am very confident, I'm a great optimist, that if we have our freedom, regardless of whether we have to pay our bills, you know, if an individual goes spending on their being and they have to pay off the debt, they have to live a little more cautiously and pay off their debt. Countries have to do that too. So the most important thing that we do is preserve our liberty. And if we have our liberty, then we can work our way out. And the purpose of government should be the protection of liberty. The purpose of the government should never be to promote and dictate virtue or promote excellence. If the government gets involved in doing that, they can only do that expense of liberty. And we can apply that principle to overseas as well. If we think that we are good and noble, that's good. I think we have a lot of good qualities, but I believe in presenting those voluntarily so people want to emulate us rather than telling people, you know, you either live the way we do or we're going to give you a lot of trouble. The other thing, what we do too often, we've been doing this for many, many decades, is if they do, you know, cooperate with us, we feel obligated to give them a lot of money. And I don't think we should have to do that because we're running out of money. So if we want to give foreign aid to somebody, we have to borrow it from the Chinese. So that doesn't make any sense to me. So I think frugality is a good idea for each and every one of these individuals. But I believe we need to stick with those principles of the Republican Party and believe in conservative fiscal policies and balanced budgets. I know that's old-fashioned, but it's worth thinking about, and that's the wing of the party I come from. I would appreciate very much your vote and support come Saturday, and I also thank you for this opportunity to visit with you.